Alright, so this video is going to be about don't judge a book by its cover, and don't always just take anyone's word for things. Don't just accept the mainstream narrative about how you should play this game. Alright, there's a lot of alternate ideas and play styles that you can find and come up with that turn out to be stronger than I think maybe the average player realizes. And that's kind of the point of my videos. It's just to kind of showcase new ideas and play styles for people in the event they want to try it, and just maybe that's part of what makes them enjoy the game, is all the different scenarios you can do. But I actually had someone tell me that my character page was a complete mess. At the time, had a lucky beast mage build, and then I had Werepyre as my sub race, had that equipped. I had several cutlasses in my inventory, the melee foam finger, level 5. I had just kind of like some randomness, so they were like, your character page is a mess. And I would try to explain, well, I had been testing the new spell and the new entropy with Quest with Archmage, and they were like, okay, whatever floats your boat. It was kind of snarky. But I'm going to do this in real time, and I don't know which way is going to come out better. But I promise you that the Werepyre Beastmaster setup that I showed a few videos ago, I think it's going to actually compete a lot better than maybe that person would realize. And I also recognize that the trying to use a Werepyre as a full-time Beastmaster, that you're using several different guests and several different pets, is probably not optimal. But if you were willing to cheese a specific strategy with a specific set of items, and be able to do so because Prime Chaos Orb will allow it in most cases, then why not do it? But first I'm going to start off with, and I'm just going to do a damage comparison. Okay, so I have retrained, and I am a pure hybrid. So you have strength, intelligence, and luck. I'm actually going to use the most optimal damage setup. I'm not saying I'm trying to get the most damage possible, but just some basics. So I'm going to just use a fire weapon. So I have a Doomlight magic weapon that you take on more damage to get the enhanced damage. So it's going to do more than average. I've got the fire specific guest here, so magic is plus 54. Some people may not realize this, but the lust and envy pets, as far as booster pets goes, if you have luck trained, will outperform a standard booster pet. In this case, we have a 30.88 increased lucky strike rate. That's on top of your 10% base. So we're going to have 40.88% lucky strike rate. So that's going to increase my damage there. Lust and envy take both luck and charisma to max out. So this isn't the most optimal, but this is going to be better than if I had a different booster here. The math will bear that out. The other thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to use this here for a 20% damage boost, and I'm just going to basically use it as a misc item. Okay, so we've got the 20% boost here. Okay, so the first round, the other thing I'm going to do is I've got Tropo Shield, and and this is going to attempt to inflict 142% Elevone. I'm actually going to do a few turns of this, and then I'm going to do a few turns without it, because in the Beastmaster mode, it's going to be panic eating, and that's going to be boosting damage. So I figure while it may not be exactly apples to apples, at least we'll have some different scenarios to compare. So I'm going to do a few turns with Tropo Shield. I'll switch my shield, and I'll just do a few turns without Tropo Shield. And then I'm going to retrain and bring back the other Panic Eat strategy with Phase Wanderer. And we're just going to compare damage. It's not going to be like 100 turns. It may be 4 to 5 each, which is very low and may not end up being an exact... it's not going to tell a complete story, but I think you'll be able to kind of get the gist of everything. Obviously with the practice trainer, it's not going to block any hits, but you do have 100% resistance as a baseline. And I will tell you, Lucky Beast Mages are lacking BTH due to the lack of dexterity, which they still take. And I understand that, if anybody wants to make that argument. That will be fixed at some point, and which will make actually the Werepyre Beastmaster cheese strategy idea even better. Alright, so all I'm going to do simply, and if you give me a minute, I'm literally going to take these numbers and I'm going to write them down just so that at the end I can recap. Alright, so we start off with there, so now we're down to 6938. So that was a total of 3,073 for that round. Alright. This round we're now going to be, it's okay, 4,036. That one was 2902. So now that one was 2548. Alright, so I'm not going to count this one, I'm just going to do this. Part of the reason why I was wanting to use Lust also is the increased Lucky Strike rate, because I'm going to be using the Optical Misc and the other version, the Beast variant there, and that is also increased Lucky Strike rate for the pet. So I'm getting some increased Lucky Strike rate on both instances. Alright, so now we're starting off with 10,440. 6914. That one was 3926. That was actually the highest. I think I didn't remember to do this every time last time. That one was 3406. And then it'll probably take the rest of it. Actually, I didn't have enough SP there. Alright, so what I'll do is I'll just take those 5 turns before, prior to this. So in 5 turns, I've eaten up a complete SP bar. And that's even restarting a new practice trainer battle, considering that if you're below the starter amount, 400 and whatever it is, it will increase there. All right, so the numbers there was 3,073, 2,902, 2,548, 3,926, and 3,406. So, all right, so if I were to average that out, give me a second. Again, 5 turns is not indicative of real world conditions, again, especially with the practice trainer. I'm just giving you an overview. The average is 3,171. Okay. So that is using, a 20% misc some of the times, lust, a weapon that actually has increased damage, fire specific boosters, basically. All right. So 3,000 damage per turn is very good, and again, that is the most optimal setup. I'm actually using a real Werepyre hybrid build. This time I'm going to go back to Lucky Beast Mage. Now this time I'm going to I decided to forego the no Tropo Shield route. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just use Werepyre again. I'm going to use Summon Creature and Phase. And then I'm going to actually use Havarti Blade. The shield's irrelevant. I could use Tropo Shield, since this guy's going to seek between energy and fire, and it will actually increase that damage. But you know what? I'm just going to make sure that let's not use it, because I want to do this. So the optical misc is going to be my enhanced lucky strike rate here. I could take, a shield cake every turn and add the crit there to this, but it's not going to do that much more damage. Alright? So nothing special. This is going to be more inconsistent, for sure, because Havarti Blade will sometimes trigger for the celerity for the pet and guest, and sometimes it won't. So it'll be a little bit more random. But I do want to do a few turns, see how it goes. Okay? Keep in mind, Werepyre is, you're going to be told, oh, it's meant for hybrids, which is true. You might get told it's best for hybrids, which may very well be true also. But should you be told that your character page is a mess because you discovered some nice and neat synergies? I don't think so. You have to remember that Werepyre hybrid stats is overridden with charisma weapons. So I was told, but you have no strength. Well, who gives a shit, because I have charisma weapon here. So I'm going to get full charisma stats, okay, folks? Alright, so the strategy is, like I showed in that video, is you're going to enhance the cheese strat. You're going to start off with terror. That's 64% panic. So the damage that I'm going to give will include, because in my video, this is the route I went. I'm not going to go in beast mode. Instead, I'm going to spam Superior Claw, which will inflict a 1 power bleed. And it's going to inflict more often because of the status potency from the miscellaneous item here. So, as you will see here, so what I'm going to do, I'll have some damage from the actual weapon-based skill. Sometimes this special will go off, and that'll also lower my overall damage. I'm well aware. It's going to be more random. But if I'm able to get an inflict here and then have this guy goes twice, and then it's going to eat the panic on the phase first turn, it's going to do a large damage, especially if it procs with the Lucky Strike. Alright? I suspect that the total damage, when you include the bleed too, will be as much, if not more, per turn than the scenario I just showed you before. Alright? But we're going to see. I might be wrong. It just feels like it could challenge it. Alright? So we're starting off with 9504 here. Keep in mind, we'd averaged 3171 last time. Alright? Didn't get the celerity to trigger. Alright, so now, including the bleed that just happened, we're down to 4853. We just did 4,651 damage. Werepyre never, in the normal, quote-unquote proper mode before, never approached that number. That's just my first turn, and that is without the weapon proccing for the celerity. Alright, so 4853. Remember, you're going to cheese and hit Terror and Superior Claw, so we're at 4853. I'm a little bit worried that this is going to kill it, but we'll find out. Alright, so we got the proc, but we just got the weapon special this time. So this one's a little weaker, but let's finish this up. We're going to have the bleed go again. Alright, so that was still 3,603. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and end this and not count what's left here. I'm going to actually rebattle and we'll start new. Alright, so this time we start off with 10,216 hit points. Here we go. Let's see if we can get some good numbers here. Superior Claw. It didn't proc that time, so this time was weaker. So let's see. With the bleed, we ended up with 6706. So that was 3510. I still have not yet had the Havarti blade not do its special and the effect proc while inflicting a bleed. So I suspect we might approach taking an entire bar there, but we'll find out. Alright, so here we go again. Alright, so here's that scenario I was hoping for. And then phase will go one more time, and then we should have an increased bleed power. And here we go. Okay, so 6706 down to 2254 was 4,452 damage. And I need to do one more to make it an even 5. So I'm just going to hurry up, and then I'll come back and do one more turn. I can already tell you that playing this way as a lucky beast mage with this setup is returning more damage than me being an actual hybrid, using a weapon with a damage increase, a misc giving me more damage, and a pet and guest that are boosters for the element in question. That is the best case scenario. Alright. So this time we're going to start off with 9789. Terror and Superior Claw. So we got the special again. No proc. And then this time 6557. That was the weakest hit at 3232, which is still higher than the average of the previous test. So let me get this 5-turn average. So the average here ended up to be 3,889 damage, which is 718 damage per turn more than if you had trained Werepyre, than if you had used a weapon that has increased damage, a guest that is a booster that is specific to the element, and a pet that the damage per turn is actually higher than just a normal booster pet. Okay? 718 damage more per turn. And as you noticed, I actually did not get this thing to proc nearly as often on where it says the cheese verbiage. In fact, I think it only happened twice and all that. So it did it here, so obviously we're going to get to see some, if this turn right here would have been counted towards it, there wasn't many lucky strikes and it didn't proc, so that the overall damage here was actually the lowest hit, and it would bring down my average. If I had used this in place of, let's say, the highest one, you probably would see maybe around the same average damage. So this scenario here actually has the potential to go higher, but also the potential to go lower than the setup I was using before as an actual hybrid. However, there's one massive difference. You know what that is? I have a completely full MP bar and a nearly full SP bar, despite the fact that I'm clicking and using some resources here, and I'm clicking and using some resources here. That SP bar can be used for other things. Unapoka. I could use maybe a blocking buff, like either like Moonwalkers or Edok Imanok. I could use my MP and my SP for a number of things. Which then, maybe I wanted to hop in Geocastellum and do a bunch of Ellie shields. It gives me the opportunity to have MP and SP at my disposal while doing just as much damage as a normal Werepyre. So when someone kind of taps you on the shoulder and says, "Hey, your character page is all over the place. You don't know what the hell you're doing." No, that person's really just a sheep, and they just kind of regurgitate the same nonsense that they've been told. Oh, look, you only use Werepyres if you're a hybrid. What the hell are you doing? No, maybe you should explore the game a little bit and get out of the chat rooms and the echo chambers and stop looking in the mirror and actually test and try things before you judge a book by its cover. Thank you.